Good morning, everyone. Welcome to
Welcome.
FYI for your
We out here.
information.
We out here.
It
We out
is.
here, people.
It is Tuesday, the 5th of April of 2022. I'm here with
This.
you, Gerard Finance, alongside Sarah
Sherrod.
Duncan.
Sherrod.
We're here this morning. This morning we're a little more upbeat than usual.
Yeah. It's the tea.
I don't know what it is.
It's the tea bag tea.
But
tea bag tea.
we've been having our own little
Yeah.
crazy.
We love to say what tea bag we're using, but the guys don't sponsor me, so we ain't giving them no
Listen,
mileage. So
Jared, don't give no promo.
no,
free promo.
It's just a thing tight in this country. It's just that we out here for free.
Well, I had I this morning I was coming and I had a better experience with the traffic. It shows that you just.
Where are you coming from?
I was coming from where I come from. But I had a little good experience with the traffic.
Average person said I came from home. I was coming from where I was coming from.
So,
Truth could be a lawyer.
Oh my goodness.
What's the definition of from? From is a preposition.
That which I came.
From that which I came. Mm-hmm. Gavin Liverpool, good to see you.
No, but
tell us.
One of the things I noted this morning, I think is annoying to everyone, so I have to say it. This morning, in the traffic, the traffic on the East Bank in particular, when you're coming down, they have the 3 lanes open and 1 lane going up. But some sets of person believe that because they have this siren on their vehicle, they can put it on and just bully their way through, causing a whole lot of confusion, unnecessary confusion. That's a system that needs to be looked into.
Because you now got to move out of the way, and most times it's pulling a very unseeming angle.
Yes,
right?
It's
so
ridiculous.
And they're late,
They're not late.
Them government people, them are late.
And my thing
them
is,
are late for nothing.
And they know the traffic. If it was something that is scheduled, they have to be at a certain place.
And then
they have
the
to
other
go
thing
early.
that happens, you can have some motorists who want to go behind them now to get a quick.
Well, that's another thing. So when they're done, it's about 20 vehicles all together going through.
We need the sirens though.
It's most ridiculous.
Taking us through, not coming behind me. Taking us through. But guys, good to see each and every one. You see Alex Boom is here. Cameron Augustus is here. Chin Sing Henry says, I love you, Anu Orange. Good to see you, Chin Sing Henry. Carl Ford.
Just inserted the Anu in there.
Marlon Monroe.
Marlon
Monroe.
I say
Morna Monroe. Apologies. Get out of my head, Marlon. Colleen Sarah Andrews is here as well. Wow.
Tessa Isaacs Graves Zandy's here with us this morning.
Yeah. I'm happy.
Orlando.
I can talk now.
Yes, you can.
I'm happy to say that Jurita made a good cup of tea. We can send you off here.
I already took send off. Don't worry.
That's why you're in East Bank.
No, that's not how you do things. That's not how you do things. I'm very traditional. Don't worry.
Oh, I see. That's why
you got to do it the right way. The stages, the old-fashioned way.
What stage you at?
I'm at the almost at the ending stage.
Almost at the ending stage. Coming from where I came from.
Before you start a new chapter, you get you have to end the first phase. I'm almost at the ending of the first phase. Yeah.
My Lord, thank you, Jesus. Thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Oh, from everlasting to everlasting. Politics, good to see you.
What do you mean? No, seriously, what do you mean? People out there don't know what you mean.
I'm very happy that you're at the ending stage, coming from where you came from. I'm happy for you. I'm happy. I'm happy, boo. I'm happy. Pace and power. Pace and power. Politics, Chin Sing Henry. Warren Figuera. Warren Rockin coming from Long Island. Warren Rockin coming from Long Island. Howdy, guys, they Warren. Howdy, guys. Good to see you, Warren. Good morning to you and the family. Say hello to Simone and everybody else for us. Stan Bourne, good to see you. Paula Hicks, Diane Fordyce. Guys, we're so happy you all are here. We're so happy.
Most definitely. Having a nice, happy Tuesday. She's having a nice, happy Tuesday.
And I'm happy that we're all having breakfast around the same table. We're so happy that you guys are here with us.
Yes.
Yeah. I look forward to you. more than she who shall not be named. I look forward.
Bartica in the house.
Yeah, where?
Alec Prowell there. You know, Ignatius Prowell that comes under the name Alec.
Oh, this be fighting by the selling too and in police
station? Of course
station?
not. This is a decent set.
Decent set. This is the
decent
partition. Amabel, good to see you. Amabel Clement. Chinsing Henry says, pace and power. That's right. That's
and
right.
Respect and manners. You know, she got all these slangs locked down.
Jennifer Jones Crawford. Good to see you. I see Marlon Thomas and Rowena Williams, Veronica Dunbar, Winifred Sears. Good to see each and every one of you. Marlon Thomas, Schultz, and Kenneth Dennis, Ricardo Charles. Good to see you folks. Clayton, was it Dean? Clayton Dean? Yes, Clayton Dean and Julian Kurt. I see Julian Mars, Andrew Cuthbert, Carol Rollins, Parusham Kishore. Good to see you. Pace and Power. Good to see you, Mr. Kishore. Mr. Kishore.
You know I was
Parasham. Parasham, get out of bed, you brush your teeth first, and then you're gonna start the mudslinging. Make sure.
I think he should
say your prayers.
I think he should endeavor to go on this National Day.
Yes, Irfan, National Day prayers.
I think Kishore needs to go.
I hope you're part of that. National Day prayers. Kishore.
I will be praying for him.
Yes. I will lift you in prayer.
Yes.
Who hurt you? Parasham. Who hurt you?
I never did him anything, I swear.
Brenda Bradford, good to see you there. Robert Pops Asher. I'm just happy that he's here. I'm just happy.
Me too.
Right? I'm just happy.
Thank you for coming.
Folks. I need to say anything else. Tessa Waterman, good to see you. Good to see you, Tessa. And all the other guys. Michelle, is it Dalton? Good to see you folks. Kevin Nicholas and Claudette Harry. Good to see each and every one of you, Teresa. Good to see you too. It's lovely orange.
You know, first of all, if I don't have an orange on the borders you shared, you need to tell them to change their color from my blazer. All right, because they would have adopted it.
Bench Cup 2 has an orange. I remember when Mark ran for when my brother Mark he ran for mayor.
Oh, that as a party color?
As a party color.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bench Cup for mayor. He had an orange.
I didn't know that.
It was an orange team. Yep.
Well, probably got to fight in spirit in orange.
Yep. Folks, so much to discuss with you. So many things. So much things to discuss. Michelle Dalton and Jennifer and all the other guys. Really good to see you guys, and we're so happy. I'm so happy you're here with us.
Oh my goodness. I see Selena Fraser is here with us this morning also.
Yeah, from Waterloo? No, Selena's from Ontario, right?
You good
Selena,
with that?
am I getting it right? Ontario?
Listen to me, two things. Don't ask me about dates and names. I don't remember dates. I don't remember dates.
Over time, names, you pick up all of these hundreds of names.
And I'm not good with faces. Like I would see you, we'll have conversation. And so please don't feel no way if you're calling me out on the road and I can't remember your face.
I'm sure, just in case.
I don't like.
Just in case, I'm Sherrod.
No, but I'm usually nice to everybody. Like somebody have to really, really get under my skin for me not to be nice to them. Sharon knows this, right? I'm generally a nice person.
I hear you.
So I'm very hospitable to persons when I come into contact with them.
People,
and so because of that, you know, I will carry on a conversation. Sometimes I'm talking to somebody and then it's turning my head to say, what is his name? What is his name? What is his name? Like,
that's how she looked at me this morning.
Where do I know him from?
I think it's the onset, you know.
Where do I know him from?
Onset ellipses. I think it's the onset.
But when it comes to dates, like I can tell you folks out there, like I don't have no issues with, like, you know, guys don't remember dates. I'm worse. Like I would forget your birthday. I would be like,
she's that kind of guy.
I'm that person.
That kind of
so I don't feel.
But I happen to fellow listening, John Doe, because we are the end stage. Remember, see, you got some time. Phase one. Coming to the end of phase one, you got some time still.
So I was strange enough to remember his birthday. I never put effort into remembering his birthday, but I never forgot it. Like I
look
don't
what
know.
She's trying to save herself now.
No, I'm serious. I never did.
Redemption song. That's all I ever had. Redemption song.
Look.
Yep.
Lots going on.
Yeah, lots in the morning papers. Lots going on in Juta's life. I know we can talk about that. Skip the morning papers. Redemption song.
There's nothing going on in my life that's not going on in yours. Let me tell you, right?
Yeah. You know. But good to see you guys. Good to see you guys as you return still morning people. Jean Williams and Owen Bacchus. Warren Figueroa says May.
May. What is May?
That sounds like a code word. May.
May. Probably a name. May is a name, you know.
Joel Ward. Andrew Cuthbert. Owen Bacchus and Lizzie Simon. Sukchan. Sudhari. Good to see all you wonderful folks. Peter Sills and Pauline Austin. Folks, thanks for joining the program. And sure, you are sharing the live stream. You are sharing the broadcast. And you're smashing that emoji button as well. Hundreds I see watching us. But I ain't seen demonstrated in the emojis. Come on, guys. Chinsing, I saw the comment there about Minister Dildo. Effects in feelings.
Oh my goodness. Like, that's most
in
ridiculous.
feelings.
Sometimes you don't give people the time of day to even carry on a conversation about the nonsense, right? So
Cherry Baskin Greenwich, I see you there out of Barbados. Send some of that sand in the sea for us and little blue water. Walk right there.
Well, it's Tuesday, and usually, guys, I spend when I'm done with the program on Monday mornings, I go to Parliament for the PAC, right? Parliament yesterday was quite something else, you know. A lot of revelations, but I think yesterday was a moment everybody was on the same page. Not very often you see the government and opposition side on the same page when they're scrutinizing the spending, which it should be. You should go there at the level of the PAC to have discussions and discourses about the spending of the people's money, the taxpayers' dollars. And I say that I hope that we get to this stage when everything is done in such a non-partisan way that we get to a place of actually fixing systems that needs to be fixed, you know. Yesterday I had a little glimmer of hope.
That we got some...
So
all is not lost.
Not all is not lost. All right, because one of the issues yesterday, I'm sitting here and it's still fresh in my mind, is the fact that one of the issues yesterday, the responses that we were getting from one of the regions that we were examining, yes, it was most ridiculous, you know, that we literally had to, they will have to, at some point in time, answer for things that they could not answer for. So, but it was quite amazing to listen to some of the responses and some of the young engineers. Guys, I want to tell persons this morning, I want to take this opportunity in this forum to tell persons, like, when you are taking certain jobs, especially when it comes to the engineers that do work, government engineers, when you are taking on that job and that task, don't take it lightly. You are bound by certain laws that if you breach, you could go to jail, you know? And yesterday we all got this impression that, you know, these guys don't understand that they could go to jail for some of the things that they're saying. Because at one point, an engineer came and said that he didn't have the work measured. He didn't do the paperwork himself. He signed it off. One of his staff did the work for him. And time again, and I want to say this, that I have been examining the record since 2002, 2003, 2004, and the same thing keeps reoccurring. So we definitely need to get to a stage that we unite ourselves and stop the nonsense and actually fix it. So going forward, it would stop. You know, wouldn't have these same issues. But I'm telling public servants out there, you know, a lot of times you go there and you're happy to have a certain job or so, but jobs comes with responsibility, and you need to equip yourself with a relevant knowledge of the laws and the regulations that you are functioning under. At least you put yourself, or people put you in a position that you can't wiggle yourself out of, and you end up in jail.
Correct, is right. And you know what? You got some folks who got a job, some folks got a career, some folks got to work.
Yeah.
Right? And not too many persons are very curious about what the vocation that they're part of. So you're an engineer. What are the rules and regulations, legislation, laws, and so on that governs that?
When we talk about Fiscal Management and Accountability Act, you need to dig down into those things.
You cannot sign a document and claim I didn't read it. I mean,
right?
Is like,
you didn't prepare it.
That's bad. That's madness. And you put your signature to it.
Yep.
Right? So
it's crazy.
We gotta watch that. We gotta watch it. And more people have to have careers and less work. But I guess in this economy that we have currently, where everybody just trying to get by, people just want to work.
But
work.
You know, we have so many things to get done. But when it comes to the process in which things are done, the processing stage of it, especially when it comes to these contracts that's coming from ministries. Currently, I know of many issues which persons are complaining about the process of actually getting small contracts done and paid for through the ministries. I'm talking about now. So I'm not just this is not our time, their time. We have an issue that we have to fix. If you were seeing for years, over a decade long, a record talking about overpayments of salaries and things like that, you know that there is a systemic failure and it needs to be adjusted. So instead of having nice headlines about who did this and who did that, you acknowledge that it is a systemic failure and move forward from there. That's the only way it's going to be fixed. You know?
April 8th, we can pray about the matter. We'll pray about it on April 8th. And we'll see what happens.
Oh my goodness.
We'll see what happens. But that being said, Rita, what's in the morning papers for us today?
Well, I'm looking at the front page of the morning papers right now. The first thing that I'm seeing is something that we're going to be dealing with a little bit later in the program when we talk about the ExxonMobil green lights, the 10 billion US yellowtail project, right? And so there's a lot of conversations being had when it comes to this, especially when the EPA actually gets permission for the project to go ahead. And so a lot of discussions to be had there, right? So interesting enough, in a country where persons, everybody know what the unemployment rate looks like and all of that, we see in none other than Air Finale saying that the contractors can't find workers. Why do you think that is?
Wow. That's interesting because last night on our affiliate program in the ring, we were talking about how under the PPP, since they've taken over government, 9,000 persons have gone unemployed. So maybe the people, maybe they don't like construction work. I don't know.
Well,
right? But everybody who in construction is not hitting a nail or a hammer or drilling something. They got accountants in construction. You got administrative staff and so on.
When your cost of going to work and doing work outweighs the pay that you're getting, you don't tend to want to take it.
Yeah. But there's that. And as we're talking about morning papers.
So that's what's going on there. You can't pay people next to nothing when they add up the rise in the transportation costs and the rise in food costs, and it costs them more to actually go to work than you're getting paid. You're not going to get persons to work. Right? We have to address the fact that persons are severely underpaid and we need to get them up to scale. And persons need to know that the minimum wage in the private sector is way below that of the minimum wage in the public sector. And we complain about the fact that persons are struggling in the public sector with the minimum wage. So imagine the persons in the private sector. So you wouldn't be able to find workers if you're not paying them something that is actually giving them a little bit of money left over when they deduct the cost of actually getting to the job and doing the work. Okay?
Yeah,
I can put it like that.
And incidentally, I'm reading a section of the New York Times, and it says here the marriage plot as something in the headline.
Marriage plot.
The marriage plot. Just so you guys know, we aren't kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm teasing. I was looking at it while you were talking earlier, and I was wondering if that is a sign. Now that you're coming to the end of the first phase.
What? No, listen.
That's how I see signs,
Oh wow.
That's
It shares probably a little
the marriage plot. Also in the morning papers. Folks, if you guys are coming, if you guys are in the diaspora.
Listen, Catherine, calm down. Don't worry with whomever is trying to disturb your
Don't let it distract you.
Calm down.
If you guys are in the diaspora and you're coming this side of the Atlantic, pick us up at a newspaper from wherever you are. Bring us a copy of the newspaper. We love newspapers from around the world. Keeps us updated with what's happening in other places. We love the internet. I personally love the feel of newspaper in my hand. I love that old fashioned.
I saw some young people doing a program discussing like dating and finance and stuff like that. It's very interesting. I joined the program once and I think it was good. I think it was nice, and it was nice to see young people addressing these very pertinent matter, because I think there were like 2 or 3 married couples that they were talking about how they deal with finance and things like that. So very interesting. So these these are discussions that people need to have, because I think a lot of times because of lack of certain conversations, people go out and make a whole lot of mistakes that could have been avoided.
Especially people moving to the end of phases, they need to.
Karen Blackhead, good morning to you. Karen, Deborah Clark, good morning, Deborah.
Beatrice is here as well.
Yeah, well,
guys, again, my simple please, if you're coming this side of the Atlantic, you're in the diaspora, pick us up a newspaper wherever you are. My aunt is on the way to Antigua, and I don't tell Sharon. I said,
don't make the mistake with coming back.
Don't come. You better send the paper. If you guys stay, you guys stay in Antigua, but at least
the papers must come.
Wherever you guys are coming in from, because I know a lot of folks are coming home. So I met some wonderful folks last evening. I don't know if I even have the permission to call their names. Some ringsiders, some fans of our programs, some FYIers.
FYIers.
And they were so gracious, and we thank all of you guys for helping us along to keep us going.
Yes, and on not such a bright light, one of the things that is into the papers today is the penitence boy is stabbed to death. A 16-year-old penitence Georgetown resident was stabbed to death yesterday.
And that's one of the issues we're actually covering this morning. Believe it or not.
Very, very, very sad story. Very sad story altogether.
Yep.
But what's going on in your paper, Sharon?
What's going on in my paper? My paper says trend. It says go to the trend. It says go to the trend. But good to see you first. Well, look at Royston Walters says good morning, Jurita, because it's only you alone on the show.
Good morning, Royston.
Like I short.
Good morning, Royston.
Like I short.
Thank you for coming to see me this morning.
Edward Gonzalez and Marilyn Lorimer and Dion Ayana, Baby Sandyford, Maureen Carpenter Williams.
Maureen asking how are you doing?
Kishore.
How are you doing, Sharon?
Yep.
Maureen wants to know how
I'm good, Maureen. Thanks for asking. Thanks for being gracious enough to ask. You're so kind. Unlike some other people in the comment section.
Yes.
Like Parashram Kishore. You all don't worry with them, man. Don't worry with Parashram. Parashram different. He's different. Don't worry with Parashram.
Parashram gets paid to do this.
Yeah. Fitzherbert Jarrett, good to see you, sir. Respect and manners. Fitzherbert is now retired.
Oh, nice.
He is spending his time traveling the world.
I can't wait.
He recently returned from, I think, Antigua as well, one of those places. Retired, and he lives out there in Connecticut.
Oh my goodness.
Doing fantastic. Well, I want to be just like
how you know his business so well.
You keep in touch. You keep in touch with the folks. You keep in touch. Right? I think that's what sets us apart from lots of the other programs.
We love
our fans. We love the following. We love you guys, our listeners, our viewers. We love you guys. And we try to keep in touch.
Marlon said, and you're jealous, brother. We love you still.
I love back to y'all. Thank you so much. I was waiting on that. That made my day. That made my day. Folks, what's on the morning trend? Look where we're starting internationally.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So this one.
Talk to us,
Juwita. Oh my goodness. I can't.
Talk to us.
This is.
Tell us who involved. Go ahead.
Listen. It says a court upholds the 25-year sentence for Hotel Rwanda hero. I want to have a discussion on this, Sharon.
Yes.
So we're gonna come back. We're gonna bring you guys back.
So here's what's happening. Now everybody know about. Well, I shouldn't say everybody knows.
Well,
the Rwanda genocide happened, right? As you know, you had two warring factions there in
the Hutu
Rwanda,
and the Tutsi,
and you had this whole genocide that happened. And again, we promised as a world we wouldn't go back there to war, civil war, and all that. But Ukraine is happening still. But that being said, one of the persons who was credited with saving a lot of lives and who the movie Hotel Rwanda was based off of, he has grown into something of an iconic figure in Rwanda. And he has been heavily critical of the current administration there, right? He has been heavily critical of them. And he was actually, at the time he was arrested, overseas when the government kidnapped him. They did not go through the formal channel of an extradition. I think he was either in the US or some other country at the time. And he's been, over the last 20 years, very, very critical of that administration in Rwanda. And so they have tried him for on terrorist charges, and they've convicted him now for 25 years. This is a guy who saved over 1,000 persons.
Yeah.
Right?
How does that,
1,000 persons?
How does that happen? Because I mean, I don't know if I'm missing a part of the story altogether, but I don't understand how is it that you can move from, well, not move from, because he's still considered a hero.
Yeah.
He is still considered a hero. And how do one get persecuted for saving lives? Like how is that?
Yeah.
How does that add
I
up?
think also he is, I want to get my facts right. I think he is resident in the US, but he has another citizenship. I think it's British citizenship or something of that nature. And so, but those countries are seeing this as a farce. They're seeing it as a farce because he's critical of the government.
Yeah.
And he was one of the most vocal critics. And of course, because he has this iconic stature.
Yeah.
He's one of the most vocal critics of the government, and they're now charging him for trying to overthrow the government. A whole host of other things. 25 years.
Yeah.
In jail.
Terrorism.
He refused. He refused to be part of the trial because he said it's a sham trial. He refused to attend court. And some international lawyers are now looking at the whole thing. 25 years.
Yeah, well, I hope we see some kind of proper resolution to that case altogether, because a lot of persons out there would say that it's not justifiable.
Yep.
The charges, but
yeah,
let's just wait and see where that goes. But persons, I just took a flash to the comment section. It's not good over there. So, it's not good over there. You know, we have a war going on in the comments right now. So, folks, remember to be positive, optimistic, be good. Don't let anybody come to spoil your day altogether. They're always going to be here. You know, devil's at work. So,
yep. So that's where we are on that front.
Yeah, that's on the international level. When we move into regional and what is going on, actually, there's an earthquake recorded near Antigua. We should go into that one first.
Yeah, but I gotta notify my peeps about this earthquake near Antigua. Now, you know, we gotta love our own country here, because we're not the only earthquakes we got is the PPP.
Oh my goodness!
Right, the only hurricane and so on is them boys. But
Thankfully,
we gotta be thankful we don't have these kind of natural disasters. But from the reports that we have, this earthquake was measuring 5.7, I think it was, on the Richter scale, but it wasn't in Antigua or there about. It was close by, though. And so, but the folks are on this, and I think UE has a seismic department that does fantastic work, and they're part of monitoring what's happening here off Antigua.
Got you.
Yep. So there's that happening on that front, folks. And of course, we got a lot to be thankful for. We got a beautiful country here. We got a lot of bountiful resources, and we don't have all of these natural disasters. You know, we don't. Sometimes, if you have something happening close by Trinidad or so on, you tend to feel some of the tremors and so forth. We've had our own, little shake, but nothing ever major in terms of this magnitude.
No, we had the one.
Thanks be to God.
We had the one in region 9, and that was the worst that we recorded. Right. So thankfully, we're very thankful for the fact that we don't have those issues, because Lord knows that we can't deal with any of that at all. We don't have the ability to deal with that right now at all.
Well, it's on the trend. What else we got trending?
Well, on the trend, as we continue on the regional level, we see St. Lucia courts hand down a conviction in a sexual abuse landmark case. The St. Lucia court is said to have handed down a conviction in a sexual abuse landmark case. Very interesting that right here in the region.
Interesting indeed.
Here in the region that you were seeing something like this, Sherrod. Yes, and as it says here, we're picking this up.
I'm trying to swallow my tea fast, so I can speak. I was a little hungry, And so, this was interesting to the point where this sexual abuse happened 20 years ago.
Yes.
And it was between a teacher and a pupil. And so, of course, some of the content from the case says that the teacher was in a position of authority and should have known better and all of that. But what is remarkable here is that the span of time, it was 20 years ago, the victim is now a grown person and instituted this litigation. And the fact that the court went back 20 years and have now handed down a judgment and to the effect where the person is going to be imprisoned, that was what was remarkable. And again, it is saying to not only which country is it? Antigua, is it?
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, that it might have repercussions for the region too, because there is no statute of limitation really, which what St. Lucia is saying on these offenses.
It should not have any statute of limitation. So rightly so.
That is quite interesting to see that. Quite interesting.
But very much of a landmark case, as they're saying, because we need to take pattern. A lot of countries can actually look at it and take an example, and to see that, especially when it comes, a lot of times we would hear, especially if victims speak out, you would see a lot of victim blaming, and especially if certain time has passed since the incident has occurred, persons tend to believe that once time passed and you don't have the right to go out there and make accusations and something like that. If someone wronged you, it doesn't matter how, especially these things when it comes to sexual assault altogether, sexual abuse. If someone wronged you, there's no time limit as to how long you should take before you go out and speak. You speak whenever you're ready to speak. That's how it is, because those things have a lot of psychological implications that victims are not psychologically and mentally strong enough to speak out just after, right? Because there's the own internal battle that they're facing when it comes to the lack of confidence, lack of trust in society, and some of them feel a sense of shame themselves. So all of those things taken into consideration, persons who have those victims have to get to a point that they are strong enough mentally and psychologically to actually go and say what happened. So there can be no time limit on when you go and say things like that. So if you are 14 years old and something happens to you, and then you are strong enough at 18 years old, 19, 20 to speak about it, you go speak your truth. There's nothing stopping you, and there is an obligation by law enforcement and the authority to do thorough investigations into what you are claiming, and nobody can just brush it aside. But we see in Guyana, and this is a fact, we see persons, when you go to the court, if even a woman goes and say, well, she's being abused, or worse, if a man goes and say he's being abused, it's treated with such a watered down effect, like nothing, like that's nothing. We have the most ridiculous culture when it comes to gender abuse, and when it comes to sexual abuse, we have the worst attitude in our system and society too, because a lot of you that is out there actually encourages it and make it so difficult for persons to come out and go forward, because you would start, why she didn't talk before, she put herself in that situation for that to happen. Total nonsense. I don't agree with it. No, cannot be right.
Definitely we have a long way to go, and this is definitely a step in the right direction for these kinds of offenses. At least St. Lucia is saying there's no statute of limitation on sexual offenses. What else we got happening on the trend? Good to see Azrita finds our.
No, well, I was still into that one, because one of the things I wanted to note on that particular case is that he was an employee of a local institution. He was accused of sexually abusing boys and girls under his care, and the court last week convicted the perpetrator on charges of carnal knowledge and remanded him in custody for sentencing in May. So this particular case has a lot for you to go and read on, and a lot is being said. That parents, you need to speak to your children and to make sure that that you know what is going on when you send them out into learn. This is a learning institution, The name wasn't given, but most definitely we need to be able to safeguard our children and make sure. I don't want nobody telling me no sad story about my children. Don't come around them anyway. I am the protective parent. I'm the definition of protective parent. I mean, some people would say that I'm a little too protective, but leave me like that. Let me be too protective, right?
I like that. Leave me like that.
Leave me just like that, because nobody can come and tell me no sad story that, they're sorry about this and sorry about it. Nope. It is my responsibility to speak to my children, have very open conversations with my children, especially my younger daughter, because you have to let them know that when they go out there are evil people out there. You got to let them know, and we have to create a society in which if someone wrongs them, they are free to come out and speak, and the community is going to surround them in a supporting way instead of ridiculing, you know? So I just put that out here.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Interesting indeed. And of course, these are discussions that we have to have more of, and the law has to be progressive enough to keep up with the changing times. And definitely, again, St. Lucia is making a step in the right direction. Also on the trend this morning in local news, as we come closer to home, in local news, GDF officer has been out there shining, shining internationally. And we always happy rather, when, folks from home go out overseas, going to the diaspora, and they do well. Tell us about that.
Well, most definitely, I've seen this bit circulating, and I'm so happy and so proud of what we read in there right about now. But a GDF officer comes out on top of the UN course, and of course we are extremely proud, as we always are, of these achievements, especially when you are there proudly flying the Guyana flag. And that's the truth of the matter. So we want to say congratulations. I see that it has congratulated Guyana Defense Force Major Stephen Douglas. That is his name, Stephen Douglas. Excellent work. We are so very proud of you. We're so very proud of all the folks there in the GDF that continues to do your best and do your job with in an exemplary way. So you are out there. You have made us all very proud. Guyanese always like to uplift the fellow Guyanese when we have these accomplishments. So we're here. We're happy for you. We're sending our love.
And I'm just hearing my belly growling.
I don't know what is going on with Sherry this morning.
Drinking my tea. Congrats to the officer. Congrats. And folks, whatever you all engage in, do it to the best of your ability. Do it to the best of your ability. Keep our flag flying high, especially the folks in the diaspora.
Whatever is it you engage in, whatever good you do it.
Do the best of your ability. That being said, before Juita mine goes down a different road, this is a particularly interesting one, and both Juita and I know this issue personally.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the story of Levi Talgett.
Yeah.
Who's been missing for 9 years now. He was an employee of the GEA, the Guyana Energy Agency, and I think he was part of the team that would involve in fuel inspection and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that was one of the roles that he carried out there. But Levi Talgett has been missing for about 9 years now. But where our paths intersect is that Levi Talgett was also an economics student at UG.
Levi Talgett.
That's where we know him from.
This story is very personal to me, and I see the newspapers has picked it back up, and I'm happy.
Kudos to Starbuck News.
Yes,
yeah.
I am very happy about that, because when it comes to the disappearance of Levi Talgett, this one is, like I said, personal to me, because this is a classmate of mine at University. Guyana, Levi and I did a degree in economics together. So this is someone that I know personally. Yeah. I know of his character very well. Exemplary character, an amazing person.
He was very quiet. Altogether. I remember him as a very quiet student.
Not just very quiet. He was also extremely helpful. Always willing to help. He never showed bias. He's in the class. Whomever needs assistance, he's always willing to give assistance. He has this very nice way. Usually when you're in class settings and educational, any grouping whatsoever, you would have different groups of personnel, and everybody would have difference. Levi was the type of person that he was friendly with everybody, because that was his personality. So, a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to his disappearance and his family. It says here that his father is still hopeful of a resolution, but answers need to be had.
Yeah.
It's
I could imagine
9
that
years.
family need closure, and folks
Answers,
who know what happened to Levi Talgett should
speak out.
Should speak up.
Yes.
9 years. I didn't even realize it was so long.
Somebody just don't go missing without a trace. It doesn't happen like that. This is a small country. I dare say that the people right here knows what happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get a little upset when I look at the way in which things are done. you would see some things being done, and it's being resolved by the click of the finger based on who it happened to. All right. And then there are other cases like this case that 9 years after, no answer. You know, what was the length of the investigation? What was the depth of the investigation altogether? So many questions, like I said. This specific story is very personal to me. I know this young man myself. I know who he is and all of that. So nobody could come and tell me and give me speculations that, oh, he's probably doing something wrong. No, off. I can say that right out. That is not who he is. You know, when you know people, persons can come and tell you otherwise about their character, who they are, what they do. So most definitely, I want to see some resolution to that particular matter.
Certainly his family,
and I join with his family in calling for answers to be given, especially after so long after this has happened.
Yeah. You know, folks, the aside from this story, the strangest thing as we're talking about Eugene, that Judy and I know the same folks because I interacted with a lot of people in student life at UG, being a student leader. But I never met Charita, strangely enough. So she didn't used to go to class plenty and so on. I don't know.
You know, I'm one of those persons.
I know Levi. I know.
Sure, never met me, but I was a part of a lot of nonsense that ran against his campaign.
I think like she didn't used to go to class plenty. You know.
I did a lot of things against your party, the Revolutionary.
I gotta ask you to register. I gotta ask you to register. That being said, folks, really and truly, we want to see resolution and closure where the story is concerned. And again, kudos to Sabak News for following up on the story.
Yes, most definitely. Answers need to be had. And again, I'm going to say that it's impossible to live in a country like Guyana where someone goes missing without a trace. It doesn't happen like that. Somebody out there always knows. And there were some part of the investigation that his vehicle was found, you know, items belonging to him was found in the possession of someone. As all of those things, absolutely no one went to prison for anything concerning him. So I don't want to put my own theories out there, but I'm saying that the authorities need to give definite answers as to what happened to Levi Talgett.
Yeah. So again, kudos to Sabak News for following up on that. Person of interest, we still in the University of Ghana?
Yes, most definitely.
Person of interest.
When we're looking at person of interest, today our person of interest is none other than Professor Paloma Mohammed, you know. Paloma Mohammed Martin, I believe this is attached there. But there you have it, UG's first...
Or her. There you have her.
UG's first female vice chancellor. Wow, quite an amazing
Go, Dr.
person.
Mohammed. Go, Doc. Go,
no,
Doc.
but I know, Sharon, I know you know Dr. Professor Paloma. Everybody does. Everybody who knows somebody knows of this woman. And I know that you know her because anyone that passed through the University of Guyana, especially when you have had an active student life, you would know these people. These persons are very, very important to us all together. But to be the first female vice chancellor, that alone creates it is breaking this glass ceiling. And we often speak about breaking the glass ceiling. And there we have it. Paloma Mohammed going out there, doing her thing. You're a person of interest because you are well deserving of that position. I know we just came out of the month of March when we were celebrating women, and Paloma Mohammed, I know that I saw a lot of coverage being put out there about her, and I encourage persons to go out and make sure that you do your bit of research on who Paloma Mohammed is. You would be so amazed. We have to have a whole show just to dissect all the work that she has done over time, but we are very proud of her as a woman. I can say that you have Professor Paloma Mohammed, if you were listening to us this morning, you know, you have created a pathway that we are also very proud of as women, and we will continue to look to you for guidance, you know. And the males out there are very proud of you too. You know, Sharon is in the corner here, feeling all left out.
Yes, we are.
Extremely proud, you know.
Yeah.
That's my heart.
Doc is a fantastic person. Dr. Mohammed, I can say that. I had the privilege of being taught by Dr. Mohammed.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
you see?
I
didn't know that.
At the undergraduate level, Dr. Mohammed was in charge of the Center for Communication Studies.
I didn't know
she was the director. That's where I met her first. And then I think she was dean of the faculty of education and humanities.
Yes.
Sorry, social sciences broadly. Social sciences. You see, that's how you know when you went to uni. You won't be able to have these conversations. But Dr. Mohammed was the Dean of Education, Social Sciences. And then she went on to be vice chancellor. I think she was deputy vice chancellor first, and then she became vice chancellor. Fantastic woman, both at the organizational level and at the academic level. And again, Dr. Mohammed took over that communication center when it was in shambles, and really brought it together, brought a lot of funding to the center, put us in touch with universities overseas. I think we still have a program that we do with Ohio State University, where they offer scholarships and so forth. And Doc has been, I think, good for the university. And so I think it wasn't surprising.
Women in those positions are always good.
Let me finish.
Women are always good when placed.
Always got to stick into little feminism.
It is. You check it out. Check out any organization.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But Dr. Mohammed, I shouldn't say but. Dr. Mohammed has been, I think, good for the university. At least she was fantastic for the social sciences. And I still think Dr. Mohammed has a large role to play, and could play a larger role. She's that kind of person, she's that
her
kind of person.
Personality.
Yes. And let me touch on that. Dr. Mohammed is one of those persons who, if you interact with her, you'd know it's a classy, elegant, educated woman, but never that kind of air about her. That kind of thing. People can be a little false and a little uppity and that kind of stuff.
Not her.
Down to earth and that kind of person.
That's what I like about her. I can say that.
And Dr. Mohammed has done, I think, well for university. And we all love the fact students who pass through her tutelage at university have been excited to see this elevation that she's had. And respect and manners to all the women, really and truly blazing the trail out there. And respect and manners to Dr. Mohammed. And I will tell you this, something I heard Dr. Mohammed say to us. And when I started communication, Dr. Mohammed would teach both, I think, somewhere there first and second year. And she's been very instrumental in research students, communication research students. And I remember one of her classes, she said something to us that stuck with me.
What is that?
Stuck with me.
Yes.
When you're on campus, you always, some of us, Gigi wasn't like that. You're distracted with the other gender.
No, I was not like that at all. Never.
That being said,
that's why I never saw nobody.
Doc would always kind of find a way to put you in your senses and say, no, y'all getting tired of taking your schoolwork. But I remember one class, she said to us, she said, usually got a lot of challenges. It had, at that time, a lot of challenges. And she said, what some of y'all think is love.
Oh, Lord.
Right? And you're going to find your husband here, you're going to find your wife here. Maybe folks found the husband and the wife and so on. Right? And you're running behind people at the expense of the schoolwork. She said, it's not love, It's not love. She said, because of the shared experience of the challenges you have to overcome together as students, it is traumatic bonding. It's not love. I never forgot that. Traumatic bonding, right? Y'all think it's love.
You had some traumatic bonding.
I had quite a few. Quite a few.
Release the comment, Jared.
Quite a few traumatic bonding experiences at university. But Doc put things in perspective. You see, from that day,
oh my goodness.
Right? Once Doc said that, I realized, you know what? It's true. I can focus on this schoolwork now.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And thanks to Doc, qualified in communications, qualified in law. Thanks to Doc.
Oh my goodness.
Because I would have dropped out in second year to like if I know.
Traumatic bonding.
Traumatic bonding is not love. It's traumatic bonding. I wonder how many of us think it's love, but it's traumatic bonding. Traumatic bonding.
Yeah, and it's
traumatic bonding.
It's important for you to know that that not because you're going through something at the same time with someone, it could not just university life, but generally that doesn't mean that you have the ability, the longevity in it. It has to. A lot of older people usually talk about this thing that you just don't look it's just not love
Yeah.
alone that keeps relationship going forward and all of that, but it's a commitment altogether.
Traumatic.
It's a commitment.
Traumatic bonding.
Traumatic bonding.
So you know, and
I have no trauma in my life, so I'm
it
glad.
all stems from what we as students went through. Like back in those days, we had to stand in some long lines to submit your application. So in a line, you might see somebody else and say, you know, these people, hey, this and that, and you say, what's your number? What's your
back
you know, you're fetching chairs.
And the environment is right? Conducive of for that, because
you're
there
hot in GWLT.
You're standing in the line, and then there's the nice trees with the shade and the benches on the
traumatic bonding.
You just go and you just sit down, you unwind after all of that.
Yeah. I met some people in campus. I said, I can marry this girl, you know. Traumatic bonding. I needed Doc like 2 years earlier. That's the only thing. 2 years. Person of interest. Dr. Paloma Mohammed, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, doing fantastic work. Continue, Dr. Mohammed. Continue.
I hope she watched this program this morning.
Traumatic
I
bonding.
remember that.
That helped me.
I see that
she
remembered.
That was like therapy, you know. Traumatic bonding. That thing started me sensible from being nonsensical. Right? All the time, my mother saying, Duncan, taking your walk nearby. You're running behind them girls, taking your walk. That one day with Dr. Matt in the class, the thing started me out. It's like a light bulb and down. Things. This is it. I think was love.
You thought it was love.
Yeah. Must have been love, but it's over now. Traumatic bonding. Moving on. Big issue.
Moving on.
Traumatic bonding. I know some light bulbs just went down for a lot of people, you know. And now they go and study, I want this traumatic bonding.
Got you here 10 years after.
10 years after.
Are you wondering why it's not working
Somebody might wake up, make some decisions tomorrow. Talk to Doc. No, don't go. Talk to Doc. Traumatic bonding. People, hashtag for me, traumatic bonding. The big issue this morning, Trader. What is the big issue?
Well, the big issue, as we were looking at this morning, as I noted a little bit earlier, we're looking at what is going on in the oil and gas sector and all of the unanswered questions. So many persons are still out there on a daily basis seeking answers that they are yet to receive, and that's what we're looking at this morning. Outstanding issues in oil and gas,
and we got a few of them. We got a few of them, a few outstanding issues in oil and gas, indeed, as Jurita says. Right, and you got people who believe we should get more royalty out of it. You know, Janet Jagan, when she signed the first PSA, got 1%. Right, after AFC got another percent out of ExxonMobil. But there are people who believe strongly that we should be getting as high as 50% out of the production sharing agreement with ExxonMobil.
We have 50. With the
royalty it's 2%.
The production sharing is 50.
Right?
Yeah.
The royalty is 2%. But the people who believe that the royalties we should get as high as 50%.
Correct.
And then there are issues of ring fencing, some of which we might touch on this morning. The cost recovery, also, and also the issues of insurance, full coverage insurance. All of those are still live issues in oil and gas. You have also the issue of why the guys seeming not to want to audit this 9.5 billion in
state secret
costs.
That's a state secret,
right? And of course, if ExxonMobil bill us for things that they did not do, that's taxpayers' money going down the drain. 9.5 billion, not Ghana dollars. US 9.5 billion, and they seem not to want to audit this. And so all of these are outstanding issues in oil and gas. And you know what? As we were saying, kudos to Starbucks News for staying on top of the Leroy Charging issue. In the same vein, kudos to Kaitour News, because they have stayed on top of issues in oil and gas. Right? They have stayed more than most news media. They have stayed on top. And one of the things I think we're looking at this morning as we discuss this, Twitter, is this issue, for instance, that they're talking about 250,000 barrels per day for this new Yellowtail project.
Yeah, correct.
And that comes back and has been on an issue raised earlier with the EIAs and the fact that it's on the Yellowtail, and that's another issue in oil and gas.
Waiver.
The waiver of the environmental impact assessments. And if you guys have been in tune to our programs across our programs, we've always raised this as an issue. the waiver and the importance of the EIA.
Well, not only that, I think one of the persons that I have to give a lot of credit to, deservingly so, is the expert, the technical expert himself, in the form of Dr. Vincent Adams. And Dr. Vincent Adams has been breaking it down to the lowest form for everyone to understand the importance of these things and why it is necessary to have those stages, to have the project go through those very important stages to benefit the country, not to put us in a position that we will be losing in the future instead of gaining. Because and he has had several discussions that he has been pounding it, that this is what he used to do and this is the way in which he used to conduct it when he was head of the EPA. But again, we want to bring the point that the PPP administration doesn't seem to be anywhere interested in keeping the experts there, because then they would have to be accountable, and they try to run away from accountability altogether. So all of these unanswered questions in the oil, as it pertains to oil and gas, how could you get answers when you remove the expert, the person that have all the knowledge and the know-how, the person that spend their entire lives studying and equipping themselves with relevant knowledge so that they can come and effectively and efficiently manage these sectors. When you remove those persons, what are you left with? You have gutted the knowledge out of the institution. So now we are left with waiver. We're left with persons that are so, I don't know, persons that went through a 6,000 plus page document in 5 days.
Yeah.
Working days, working hours.
It's using oil and gas. And I really want to thank Starbucks as well.
I don't even want to blame them. Listen, sometimes I don't even want, when it comes to the staff, I want to put this out there. When it comes to the staff at certain institutions, some people just barely doing whatever to hold on to the income at the end of the month.
There's the assumption that the staff even went through it. That's the assumption.
That's just another thing.
Because, this could all be formality. You submit it, we know we're giving you it, whatever the thing said.
Not even back the page.
Right? We ain't open a page yet. The thing's still on somebody's desk, but you got the agreement there. But lots of issues because we want more out of our oil and gas sector. And that's just one of the issues. Let's throw the other one up there for the guys. So they have all of them. So there is that, the 120 barrels of oil. And there is another one. I think there is another one that we want to look at. And again, featuring on what's happening in this sector, that
Correct.
Article 13.
Oh, yes.
Right? They are asking government to release the information on the license. Article 13 group, this pressure group.
You are speaking about an administration that says that they are championing certain causes. You're speaking about an administration that loves to go out there and utter the word democracy, right? And yet we are at the point, you're at the stage where the country does not know the details because they refuse to let the information be out there. You can say what you want about the APNU AFC administration. Those documents were released. The public has access to it to see what is there, line for line, word for word. But now everything's a state secret, and a lot of persons suddenly realize there's a vast difference between the way in which these two groupings, the coalition as opposed to the PPP, deals with issues of transparency, because there's aspects of good governance that you can't run from. You can't claim to be practicing good governance if you are not transparent, if you are not putting out the information, if the communication methodology that you're utilizing isn't giving information to the people. You can't go out there and speak of good governance because you're not practicing good governance. And this is something that I can proudly say that a coalition was on point with when it comes to transparency, when it comes to the fact that persons could have gone out there and used their voice without being criticized. All of these things, but persons are slowly beginning to miss it.
Well said. Well said. And again, kudos to the pressure groups, interest groups, like Article 13, who has been out there ensuring that Guyanese get a fair shake. Because that's all we're asking for, a fair shake. And interestingly enough, as we talk about that, there are other groups and other voices that are being raised in terms of what is happening in the oil and gas sector. For instance, people are saying that, this thing needs to be managed well.
Yeah.
There is no do-over. If you get it wrong, it has implications for future generations. We have this windfall of money in oil and gas. And if you do it right, it could mean, as we were talking about in a previous program, Guyana has the potential of becoming a first world country if you have the right people, the right policies, the right programs that are put in place. And the opposite could happen also. And there's one professor who has recently lifted his voice on this issue, Terence Yip. And again, we're picking this up out of Cultural News. I want to give the kudos to Cultural News. And Fabric News, too, has been doing exceptional work in oil and gas. But Professor Yip had quite a few things to say about what is happening here. And he says, you know what, again, don't be fooled, Jurita, this is right up your alley, as an economist, don't be fooled by rising GDP. And Terence Yip said, indeed, Guyanese should feel justifiably proud of the fact that their country's GDP has been growing the fastest, and that Guyana is one of the few bright spots in the world. In fact, he highlighted that the GDP per capita will reach an estimated $14,000 in 2022 and 20,000 US in 2023 at the current exchange rate. The economists warned, but one must not get carried away by these large averages. Every Guyanese man, woman, child, and of every household will not be getting these incomes. The oil money will not erase absolute poverty, nor will it reduce income equality overnight. And those are some sobering words, inequality overnight. And I want to say also kudos to Culture News and also to the journalists who I see has followed up a lot of these issues, Kiana Wilberg of Culture News as well. I want to just give that big shout out there to Kiana.
Well, most definitely, that is something. Oh my goodness.
Yep. He said, don't get carried away by all this. The GDP gonna be, I think it was pegged at 47% this year because of oil and gas. We were condemning Trinidad quite recently by saying that they have their economy structured more so to the oil and gas sector, but we seem to be heading there. We seem to be heading in that direction as well. But Professor Yip is saying that he, as an expert, it has to be more than that, and that if you have proper programs, they are good. They are good examples out there. Botswana is a country that has used its natural resources to really benefit its population with good policies and good programs. But there are bad examples out there as well. A powerful thing that he said, as simple as it was, it's the technological age. Everything there is within a click of a finger. The examples, bad and good, are out there. Follow the good. Follow the good. But of course, we're still a far way off.
I want to actually go back to the article itself and what he was speaking about, because a lot to be taken from it altogether. But he spoke about absolute poverty, and this is something that I speak about very often when it comes to poverty. And he speak about the fact that the disparity between the rich and the poor, that gap is widening instead of closing. And one of the things I want persons to remember, because as we're having this conversation, I'm remembering so many things that we've been consistently speaking about. And when it comes to the disparity, you would remember, folks, that when the 7%, the across the board 7% increase was announced, that is something we spoke about. We said that it is not being done in the right manner, because the way in which it was done on the coalition, you have a different percentage increase when you were looking at persons of a certain income bracket. The lower income bracket you were in, the higher percentage you were receiving when it comes to the wages and salary increases that were announced yearly by the coalition administration, because that there was directly impacting the income inequality, that gap there. It was narrowing, closing the gap. But when you have this across the board, this method that the PPP utilize and continues to utilize in so many things, when you have that, what you are doing there is widening that gap. So you give the poor less and you give the rich more. That's basically what it boils down to when you go and give the percentage as across the board. That is one of the things that we're looking at. But when it comes to absolute poverty, persons, there's poverty. So persons say, oh, well, you put the word absolute. For persons who are not familiar with the terminology altogether, absolute poverty basically speaks about when persons are deprived of basic things, food, proper water. You were speaking about worms coming out of the water.
In Linden. Yeah.
That's what's going on there. We were speaking about the fact that persons don't have food. A lot of persons are down to one meal per day because they can't afford to feed their families as they should because of the exorbitant increase in the price of basic food items. So when we talk about absolute poverty, this is something that is not alien to Guyana. This is something that people know of. A lot of people, thousands of persons know about this firsthand, knows about these difficulties and these struggles. So this is not, when these discussions are being had, I see a lot of persons that wants to be advocate for the current administration. There's certain people just jump up and say that they're the expert and they want to speak about certain economic policies, right? I'm yet to hear of any one of them speak about the realities on the ground and how poor people are dealing with all that is going on, the inflation, the unemployment, all of these things. Those are conversations that they're not having because they have no policy direction to guide persons out of that. So yes, this guy Terrence is completely correct what he says. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's more importantly, it's not going to happen at all if there's no policy directed to making sure that changes. And if we are to base our predictions on past behavior, when we are looking, I want to talk about the 7%, because when we're looking at that particular matter, that is a matter of, that is a startling example in telling people that equality and equity are two completely different concepts. And you do not go out there and say that you are being equal when you are not practicing any bit of equity whatsoever. You need to give people what they need to bring them up to par on a competitive level with other persons. You can't be giving everybody the same thing and saying, oh, you're helping everyone. It doesn't work like that. Different communities have different needs. Different people in certain income bracket needs different things. You can't go out there and say, oh, we're going to give everybody $25,000. Oh, you living in a 3-story building? You living in a shack? Oh, you just borrowing a little room or a little space in somebody, we can give you $25,000. We are being equal. Yes, there's equality there. In the most corrupt manner, some people never see the light of day with the money, assuming that everybody sees it, just being wild out there. But you are not being equitable. So the person that needs more don't get more, and the person that don't need it at all is still getting. And we need to get to a place where we accept that our country has such disparity that the only way in which you can solve it is to give who needs more. That's the only way you can solve that.
It really makes an interesting point because, for instance, if you take Irfan Ali as an example, remember you had the across the board 7%.
Yep.
Irfan Ali at his current income bracket
7%,
and a 7% for him meant $150,000.
Yep.
Now here's somebody who has a lot of perks. You got free transportation, free housing, free light, free something. But somebody who might really need a $150,000 boost.
Yep.
Their 7% might be 3,000, might be 4,000, right? So that is the kind of thing I think in a very meaningful way in which you can look at it. But I saved we saved
release the comments as you're speaking.
We saved this story for last because when we saw it, it was independent of this. But as the guy showed us the content, we thought, what a better example to look at this. Some of the concerns you have, the outstanding issues in oil and gas, against this particular story, because this is a family from Berbice in which 4 of the children were stung by bees recently.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. But aspects of the story stood out to us, right? Aspect of the story stood out to us. And again, we're picking this particular story up out of Kaicho News. I think it is. It says 4 children, ages 1, 2, 5, and 11 are hospitalized at the Skeldon Public Hospital in a stable condition after they were stung by bees that were reportedly disturbed in an empty lot on Sunday morning. The mother of the children, Sunita Charan, 30, a housewife, who was also stung multiple times and treated at a local hospital, was discharged, but her children were kept under observation in the hospital as they were vomiting and exhibiting signs of discomfort. But as the story progressed to tell you what happened and how they found themselves in this situation, it tells us that a bee hive was close to where they're living, and somehow their nest there was disturbed and the bees invaded their homes. But what struck me about the story is, according to a neighbor who was interviewed, according to the neighbor said that the family is extremely poor, and as such, persons have been assisting them with hampers. She added that the family lived elsewhere, but they were evicted. Thus, the neighbor says, she and her husband had helped them to get the house for them to stay in. They have been living there for the past 3 weeks. And then they have a number here if you want to assist the family. Right? So again, we are going to increase our GDP by 47% or 47%, whatever. Right? Dr. Yip has just told us, Terence Yip, that you can get the per capita GDP moving from 17,000 to 20,000. But not everybody can get it. And when we were looking at this issue here, the big issue, we were thinking, how does Senator Charan benefit as a family who the papers are telling us are extremely poor, right? They've been moving about as a family, right? And now you're poor, you've got bees to deal with, your 4 children in the hospital vomiting, right? So poverty is real here, and we talk about extreme poverty. So it is real for a lot of people.
It's absolute poverty.
It is real for a lot of people.
Absolute poverty, like Cheryl's right, is in extreme poverty, and a lot of times the poverty line. When you look at how many persons are living actually below the poverty line, there's actually a line. I have to check the updated figure, but at one point in time, it's person that was living under $1 US dollar per day. You know, but I have to check an updated figure to see if that is still the measure. But there were persons that was living below that particular line, which on average is just about 200 Guyana dollars per day. And we know of persons that are in those situations, you know. And absolute poverty is something that everybody in this country, no people living in absolute poverty.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone in this country.
And in some instances, we ourselves. Don't let jacket and shirt fool you.
Yep.
Right? We live in this economy, and you have to think in consideration how much good work years I have left in me.
Yeah.
What put away? You know, something should happen to me tomorrow. What happens to my family? We live in the economy too.
But it's interesting that you spoke about this situation with the family that got stung by the bee, and the fact that the poor people are living in this country. And I can say that again, when you speak about, you see all these brilliant numbers coming forward. Let's just be realistic about it. You see all the brilliant numbers coming forward. You see the GDP looking all nice, and I have to say the origin, because no, in all GDP ain't looking good at all. It's horrible. Right? And we'll get to that in a different program, but we're not going to speak about that today. That's a whole hour conversation or more. But we see, and everyone have the bright aspects of what could be. But the reality is that you're looking at numbers, and when you talk about per capita, basically you're talking about based on the amount of people that is living in the country and the GDP that you have. This is what it breaks down to per person, right? So that's how they look at it. This woman looked, and her family looks like they're enjoying any per capita GDP benefit. And that is the reality.
They're not enjoying 17,000 US.
That's my point. So how does it get to them? Because what's happening is when you have a system that is so corrupt and a system that is not transparent and all of these things, when you have that system in place, all of those monies that should be given and that should be benefiting them, I want to say given, that should be benefiting those persons, are now saturated and actually is just benefiting a few at the very top, a little gang at the very top. And these are the things that we need to move away from. These are the things we have to fight against. And we're not going to move graciously away from it, because that's the system that those persons there enjoy. So you have to fight it in order to have those people benefit. You need to have a system of equity in which you give them what they need to elevate their lives. You know, a hamper don't cut it. A hamper don't cut it. You don't give somebody a hamper what? It helps them for a day. How does that
What
improve
next?
their lives?
What
How?
next?
How?
What
How?
next? What
You know, you give them 25,000. How long does that benefit them with the exorbitant increase in the price of goods, food stuff? How long does that benefit them? A week? Let's be realistic as to how things are happening.
Yeah.
You have to put systems in place and policies in place so that their lives, their standard of living is elevated, not for a day, not for 24 hours, but you have sustained growth for those families. And that is what we are advocating for altogether.
Yeah. That's it, folks. You know, we cannot exhaust these issues. As we said, we got a lot of outstanding issues in oil and gas, and that's just one sector. That's just one sector. We're going to continue to update you guys, continue to keep these as live issues that we discuss, because this well belongs to all of us. It's our country, Guyana, that is, whether you're home or you're in the diaspora, and it should interest all of us how it is managed, how it is run. Yep. And so we're going to keep you guys posted on these myriad issues. But thanks for joining us, Peter Sills and Natalia Odwin, Marilyn Thomas, Savage Page, Jewel Ward, Dave Jurel, all of you fantastic folks who are joining us. Thanks for doing so. And guys, we implore you, we encourage you to come on board and to partner with us. You know by now, by heart, those of you who've been regulars in our programs, we got PayPal, we got Zelle, we got Cash App, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. You want to know how you can use any of these to benefit our program, folks? The WhatsApp, our WhatsApp number, you can call or message, is our MMG number as well. It's 627-6963. That's our MMG number, 627-6963. 627-6963, correct? And it's our WhatsApp number as well. And we're going to let you know how you guys can do so. But we encourage you to come on board, guys, and to partner with us so we can do many more of these programs. We can stay on air and keep doing our things, amplifying our voices, bringing to you credible and valid information.
Guys, thank you for being with us. Like Sharon said, I implore that you share the live stream.
Yeah.
And you would know that the discussions that we're having on these programs in the morning are things that persons need to be in tune with, things that people need to hear. And not very often we find people going out there and looking at research and things that we would hope that they research. So we try our best to put together content that is going to be beneficial for each and every one of you, especially as it pertains to where we are as a country and how we are seeing the country moving forward, what changes we believe should be made to make sure that we all benefit from the resources of our country. So continue to join us tomorrow again at 8 a.m. Be here for 12, below the belt. And then in the ring this evening at 8 p.m. You know, Sheridan's going to be taking some rest to be all fired up. He has some exciting news for in the ring this evening.
Piss and power. Ping, pang, ping. Ping, bang, ping.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Stay safe. That's what we